Hey, good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday Wellness, and thank you for joining us for another podcast. We are Wednesday Wellness. Good morning to everyone as we talk about getting well, being well, and staying well. Help out it. If you want to get well, be well, and stay well, most of us do. And we're going to eyesight today. How about that? Many of us may have eyesight to wear glasses. For me, I wear glasses for reading. Because if I don't have my glasses on, I cannot see. But today we're going to talk about a different kind of eyesight that has to do with our emotions and our mental state of mind. How do we see? That's a good question, right? In our life, we have had blind spots. We've had blurry vision, and there are some of us that have had no vision at all. But I want to ask you, how are you seeing? This is going to be a very interesting podcast today. Wednesday Wellness is always about checking out how well we all are. How well we all are. And I thought it was so interesting to be able to think about our blind spots and how we see them. I think it's important that we do just that. How are you all doing when it comes to seeing your emotional blind spot? Trish, you can go ahead and do that one more time, please. Our emotional blind spots are where we are having a difficult time seeing or noticing. Seeing or noticing. You know, I want you to remember that Vibe Talk is always about choice thinking. We're not doctors. I am, however, a professional life coach. And if you'd like to sit with me, I'd love to have you guys do that. So welcome. Welcome. I'm trying to get, let's do that again. Sorry for the pause, guys. Yeah. Um, when we put on our glasses, for those of us who need to see, it creates for us strength and ability to see what's around us. But now, what about blind spots? That requires us to see clearly. We ask ourselves questions. We see ourselves perhaps in a different light of how someone else might see us. We also have others see us. But can I ask you, do you have blind spots? What are your blind spots? Something that you don't see about yourself. What have others said? Now remember, I always tell you don't believe the lie, and I mean that. I want you to see the truth about yourself. And when you're able to identify truth about yourself, that makes you emotionally intelligent, smart, when you can see yourself. Now, let me give you an illustration. None of us can see the wind, but we feel the wind's effect, right? So I want you to think about the effect that our seeing ourselves has on you. As we talk about ourselves and how we can affect our own self. Now, if you're wearing glasses, I want you to see yourself and fix and make well that sight in an emotional or mental way. We're going to talk about relationships, and we're going to talk about two people or three people. Macy has friends that are like emotional parasites. They drain her as she is a giver and gets nothing back. While Steve has three ex-wives, all who have had affairs. And then there's Corinne. Corinne has children. She's around her coworkers, but her mother never responds to her feelings. Now, if you keep having the same relationship with people or a certain type of people, that was just a scenario, can you see yourself choosing friends who match yourself? When we think about Macy and we think about how Macy resists normalcy in friendships, she only gravitates toward those who are takers. And Steve, oh well, there's Steve. He falls for the women that are very much like his mother. And Corinne is reserved, very reserved. So it's hard to read her emotions and moods. What's similar about these three is they go through life blaming their relationship pattern on other people's shortcomings. You know, I'm like this because you made me. I'm this way because you said. But now let's put on our emotional and mental glasses. Life coaching. One life coach said, we create our own situations at times. None of us have what is called blind faith, but we do have a choice. Remember, we talked about choices. We can either well ourselves, fix the circumstances, and continue on the wellness road. Choice is very powerful, but it is opportunity and chance that will determine your patterns over time. In many situations, people have lost their job, and some were doing very well in their job experience. They bounced back, they were able to go on, and some complained, while others just went through life. Are you that person? When things happen in your life, do you choose to say, why is it happening to me? Or do you have the choice to see something of a better opportunity? Because not all bad happens for nothing. Sometimes the more challenging things happens because there are other opportunities. But are you seeing those opportunities? Good morning to all that are coming in. How about the way that you see your self-image? Self-image is one of the most important things to work on, even when you are a very young child. Self-image. When you're young, you may not be able to distinguish what you can and cannot do. But that's why early learners are at play, because that will determine what they can and cannot do, what they can and what they are not willing to do. Such as watching a group of kids, they're all at ball playing, and they're playing catch. Every child lines up to play catch. And as you throw the ball out, they're not worried if they can or can't. They just try. How about us trying to fix our eyesight? They don't even notice that they cannot catch. They just play and try. If you've ever witnessed that, they never give up. They keep trying. And they will oftentimes tell you, let me. I want to catch it. I've had that experience. experience as an educator watching children at play. Now you grow up, and as you observe these children playing, you say to yourself, wow, that person was really determined. That's you in vision to what you're seeing. But that child will tell you they had fun at play because they kept trying. And that was the truth about them. And as you see them and observe them, you say, wow, you did a great job. Nobody dare say you didn't even catch the ball. But now we're going to self-examine. This is what I love about Vibe Talk. And we're going to answer this, and we're going to, if you will, we are going to think about the following questions or things. And now you're going to be able to fix your sight today. That is your mental and emotional sight. Choice is yours. You can be just like those group of children, or you can be unlike them and not try. What are people always telling you that you are? And they haven't told you once, but they've told you more than you really care to hear. Now, here's a scenario. If they keep telling you that there must be some thing to that. Thought I was going to say something else. So I want you right now to think about what people are always telling you that you are. I want you to write one negative and one positive. Like with me, people always tell me that I'm strong. Do I believe that? The negative is people always tell me how angry I get. How are we seeing ourselves? The next one. I get a lot of compliments about. What do you get a lot of compliments about? What are you getting a lot of compliments about? And many of you can write in the chat box if you can't get online. It looks like we might be having a bit of connection problem, and that's okay. What do you get a lot of compliments? Excuse me if I didn't say that before. What are you getting a lot of compliments about? Get a lot of compliments about our Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. And I also get that I input or comment on something. How about this one? When my friends or family members are angry with me, they say that. In other words, what do your friends and family members say when they're angry with you? Mine honestly is that I'm stubborn and I don't want to listen. I want to do things my own way. What about you? Here's another one. people often thank me for telling the truth. Much of the time, I am for the underdog, and I will rescue the underdog because I do not like injustice. So I'm a rescuer. When I say good morning to those of you who are here with us, we are talking about Wednesday Wellness. We're talking about being able to see, being able to see, and fixing our eyesight. How many of you are willing to fix your eyesight? Because we have to be willing to work on ourselves. And that's what Vibe Talk is all about, is our doing our work. Doing our work. And just one moment. When we do our work, we're able to see the progress. How about you? What have you cited about yourself? We're going to talk about this in sight, especially when we drive. Some of us have a lot of blind spots in our way, things that prevent us from seeing clearly. Something's in the way of our sight. We've talked about relationships, the kind of relationships we find ourselves in. And we look at that and we say, wow, let me see if I can do this. Sorry about that, guys. I'm trying to get my co-host in. Okay, hold on just 1 second. Okay, let me see. Try again. Again. Okay, so here we are. We are at the point where we think about what is accurate about ourselves. What is your self understanding? How do you see yourself? How many times has someone validated your perception? And they've been correct. Some of us don't want to see ourselves for who or what we really are. Are you that type of person to keep yourself hidden? No one wants to know that they have things challenging about themselves, but guess what? We are challenging about ourselves. Vibe Talk is that challenge to discover just how blind many of us really are. And that's been a reason why some people don't want to come to this class, because they begin to have clear eyesight, perception, looking at themselves, liking something about themselves, and not being blinded to all the beautiful things or the beautiful person that you are. And then there's the other side of where people want to hide what they are. They don't want to be in the eyesight of others, so they think that they hide from them. I want you to not overlook or dismiss those things. Wednesday Wellness is about welling ourselves. Just by those questions that I just asked, many of you are able to get connected because you understood the question. And if at any time that you're not able to understand the question, here's what I'd like you to do. Get a hold of me, inbox me here on our Facebook page at Vibe-Talk. If you're on streaming, our direct connect is 661-503-8993. That's not only for streaming, but you can connect with us. Blind spots. I want you to think about the things that make you uncomfortable while being gentle with yourself. Because the more that you are gentle with the uncomfortable parts of yourself, the more that you are able to tolerate yourself and becoming aware. You know the thing that I said about how I get angry or how I'm stubborn when I ask the question about what family and friends say, and I just am bent on doing it my way? Well, I can tolerate that. And I have become aware of it because so many people have said that about me. Now, is that a harsh or damaging thing? No, because it make me aware of the things that I need to do, which is fix it. I want everyone that's listening today to write that in the comments below, or even if you're listening online, fix it. Common word. Excuse me. See, once we realize something, are we going to fix it? Ask us yourself questions. Excuse me. What are you afraid to know about yourself? You will discover something about yourself. Not a bad thing. But what are you afraid to know about yourself? Instead of having other people see you, how about you see yourself this one moment? So it's called discovery. Seeing yourself. What is the one thing that you want to accept about yourself? Even not seeing yourself in a good light or having eyesight see yourself that you are good enough? Sometimes we have a hard time accepting the good parts of ourselves. What do? We learn to fix it. Here's another thing. What do you sense without knowing? You know how some people can feel things? I'm going to tell you, I'm very strong in this area where I can feel certain things. And sometimes I will have told my young people, sons, how I feel something. Or when I was very young, I used to tell my sisters that I feel something, and 9.99 times it was correct. Some people have intuitive. We all have it, but some of us have it stronger than others. I can sense when a person is fake. I can sense when a person is not putting me on. Some people are oblivious to that. So I want you to have eyesight. Why? Because the more insight you have, the more that you will arrive at awareness. The more insight that you have, the kinder you will be to yourself. And those are called breakthroughs. How many of you have ever had a breakthrough and you've come home and you feel like you've just won the Olympics and you say, yeah, you've all done that. And if you haven't, start doing that. If you've had a great day at work and you're clocking out, yes, you did it. If you've had a great day at school, yes, you did it. You've done that. Major breakthroughs. When we look for the blind spots in our lives, it's like trying to examine our own head. Get connected to what's in or on your mind. Sometimes you ask people how they were. I don't know. How they're feeling. I don't know. Why don't you know? See, that's what I want to say. But your brain power has just that. So much fun. You want to be able to help them and attract them to their brain power, their sense of being able to know, their sense of being aware. Think about the process of your mind and answer the question when people ask you, how was your day? Because you do know. Look for the blind spots in your life. And we're not talking about damaging criticism. Let's be careful of that. That which may be damaging to you and to others. I want you to be able to use your time to be able to awaken to this process of awareness. I want you to wake up your senses. That sense to be able to see and feel something. I want you to be able to identify. Even if it's yourself, because we're quick to identify something about others. You have a best friend. Many of us have best friends. Many of us have close friends. We can identify marks about them, but when it comes to ourselves, we quickly run into denial. It means that you don't own what others are seeing. And I don't mean one time. I mean, if everybody is seeing that one thing about you, you are saying, that's not me. So what do? You have to fix it. If you're brave enough or have lion power, you could try to ask somebody or even ask yourself, is there anything about me that you deny or that you are quick to disown or dismiss? Start with those who are close to you. What about me is obvious to you? You can start it that way. And you just want to listen. Insightfulness is a beautiful quality to have. Can you spot it right on? You know, I want to tell you about being able to have the power to do that without quickly damaging yourself. Sometimes you are breaking the barriers that can change your life. Yourself. How many of us really like feedback? You know, even for Vibe Talk, we ask you for feedback. Is that scary to you? You don't know what the person is going to say. If you want feedback, then ask for feedback. You know, maybe some of you are in college and you're going to hand in your paper to the teacher, and you say to the teacher, can you give me some feedback on what I've just written? And then as you do that, you're biting your nose or you're cringing because you're thinking the worst, like they're not going to like it. Or I hope they like it, right? We do that with ourselves. We cringe because we always want people to say good about us because we always want to smile. If I said everything good and nothing that you needed to work on, would you try? If I said, or if you said everything good about yourself and nothing you needed to work on, are you being for real? Are you being insightful? Because every last one of us has something that we see about ourselves that we must work on. Sometimes it is scary to receive feedback, even from ourselves. Makes us uncomfortable. These are blind spots. I want you, even before you ask for honesty from anyone, should you choose to do this, and how they really feel about you. What is your process for accepting what it is that they might say? Let's take the college teacher. So a few days passes, you get your paper, and what's your reaction? Because on that paper, they say you could have done a little better. What's your reaction? Well, how about just saying thank you? Or do you become upset? I actually had that happen. You think you're being a friend and you tell somebody the truth. It is not my truth, but when other people have said it and you ignore it for years on, get mad. Sometimes people have gotten violently upset where they're having violent outbursts or they're trying to hurt you because they feel that you've hurt them, right? But what about just thank you? Now, if the teacher got your paper and said you did excellent, what is your automatic response? Oh, thank you. See, this is mind power, being able to train our mind to think or respond in this way. Sometimes in order to not have emotional or mental outbursts when some have insight to your person, we can be calm and just say thank you. We're going to be right back. A short break here. It's Cashapp. Podcast. Issues where kindness and power information. Your recommendations you do. Send it to our Cashapp, which is vibetalkfacethelion. You can send us voice messages as well through Spotify and our direct connect, which is 661-509-899, which is the first information that you'll see on our YouTube channel. It's also the first resource of updated videos along with any updated videos or reels or any posts that we're doing. Instagram mostly promotes the positive quotes and reels of our podcast and our radio shows. Which happens Saturday night. It doesn't have a specific time, and our slogan is one song that we play for you. And that is also hosted by our host, vibetalkfacethelion podcast. You can find us on iHeartRadio and on Spotify. We're back, and thank you for being with us here on Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We're streaming everywhere. Today is Wednesday Wellness, and we're talking about fixing our sight. And our last conversation was on insight before we left for break. Do you have to believe everything a person says about you? Or do you think and say, some of that was true, none of it was true, or all of it was true? You go back to think about it. How about feedback that you get that may not be real feedback? Because even with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast, we may get negative feedback. But are we going to stop our show? No. We can take the useless and If it serves no purpose, we don't have to store it. But if it's real feedback, we can think about and reflect upon how it's going to aid to our program or podcast. Useful feedback it becomes. Sometimes when you ask for feedback, it stings. It hurts. But it shouldn't if it's meant. Good morning and welcome to our program. Where are you listening in from? And if you're here for the first time, top left of your screen on some platforms, it's clickable. Please click that and you will be able to see when our podcast starts. This is Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast, all about feelings and emotions. Sometimes, you know how you say the truth hurts? It can sting because we all want to hear good things. But it can also help you to get well in your actions. Sometimes it feels like a light turned on the rain. Usually in relationships, you have to decide what's good and what's not. Sometimes in relationships, there have been things that have said this: no one could ever love you. Is that useless or useful? What do you think? Words. I want you to think about your response in your relationships. Some of us have said it to ourselves that no one could ever love me. Is it useful to you or useless? Has it produced in you to be a useful, productive person or a useless person? You have a choice. How about making healthy changes? Many people say, you know, they need to eat better. They need to watch what they eat. Are we watching how we treat ourselves, or do we just let people come in and blind us? Or are we blinding others? What is your choice on that, your feedback? I don't think that every person living is out to get us by mentioning truthful feedback. I'm going to give you what a neurologist wrote. The man blind from early childhood that had an operation, and his sight was restored. And now he grew to be a middle-aged man, and through that man's eyes, the visual information he was able to take in, but his brain wasn't used to making sense of the things he took in. He couldn't make out the difference between a man and a gorilla. One day he touched a statue of a gorilla, and the difference was clear to him. Point of this story. sometimes we're in a confused state as to what we will feel. And accepting or not what is in our blind spot. Some of us don't even realize that we do have a blind spot. But what lies in your blind spot? Are you able to tell the difference? Sometimes we need a new set of eyes, if you will, to see ourselves. And with those new pair of eyes, we're able to perceive. Now, this helps us to be able to see ourselves as we really are. That's hard. Nobody wants to be told what their truthfully truth is. Truthfully truthful is. What's the difference? Some say they couldn't see things correctly, while others have said they had a false image of themselves. And now when they look at things differently, they have a more accurate vision of themselves. One person said, what I learned was that I was actually trampling on people because of my conversational style. Imagine that. I've had to tell someone they talk too much. And all they want to do is hear themselves talk. Did it sting them? Of course. But from that, they realized they needed to listen more. Sometimes our blind spots can be intensified. And life teaches us lessons. Do we want to take the journey to see how we can choose to have different perception? Trish, are you able to call in for Trish's treasures? Here's a quote. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. We're going to talk about that, excuse me, when you can feel powerful beyond measure. Why? Because it's your light. Your light impacts people and not your darkness. When we see ourselves in the truest nature as recognizing the good insight that we have. With that, we're able to view ourselves. Let's make it worthwhile. Trish, can I get you to call in for Trish's treasures, if you can hear me? Please and thank you. So what do we learn from having, oh, what do we learn, guys, from being able to fix our sight, having insight, and being able to recover sight? We either want to get well, stay well, and be well. Here's Trish for Trish's Treasures. Trish?
Good morning, everyone. So this is made me think about my my personal eyesight and also my insight on how I view people and how I view myself. And that's what glasses are for. It's like, okay, without them, everything is blurry. But then without glasses, you learn to basically see if your vision is blurry, you go by memory. Basically, that's me. That's how I see. I see by memory because I don't work a lot at home because I feel like if I wear my glasses at home, that means I'm working. I have to go somewhere. And I should wear them more often because they make my eyes stronger. So when I wear my glasses, I see things a lot clearer. And for those who don't have glasses, we have people that wear glasses. We get our prescription changed. We get an eye check. We go to the eye doctor and we get an eye exam to see how our vision has been doing for the last 2 to 3 years. And me, I haven't been to the eye doctor for a long time, but I know that my vision isn't very well. Very well. So I do things to enhance, like caring. Also helps your eyesight. I don't move for too long because that makes my vision worse. I try not to get too close to the TV. That makes my vision worse. I also wear my glasses more often because that enhances my vision. And that is like your insight and your point of view of who you are and how you view others. An interesting thing that we talked about in this podcast today was how we create situations for ourselves, and that has a lot to do with how we view people or what our mind remembers by what we saw before, and we're so into the fight or flight situation where we put our guard up and we're scared of seeing what we've seen before because we have the insight of the past. But having a new insight helps us help empathy for others as well. It also helps us realize, oh, I need to change that way of thinking. I need to change my point of view of this person because at first, before I thought they couldn't change, but now I see a new perspective of them. I see that they've changed, and yourself, you think it's impossible for you to change, or it's impossible to view yourself any other way. I was also like that. I viewed myself in one way, and I thought there is no change. Everything is just that's how it's going to be, and that's it. I don't love myself, and that's it. That's how it's going to be. I thought that. But how I view myself. And that came from feedback, useless feedback from people in the past. And the more I learned that you have to get rid of the useless feedback and make it into something affirmative for you. Make positive affirmations for you, for myself. And that's what I did to change my insight. When people said, you're ugly, I look at myself and I say, you know what? I'm beautiful. It was even hard for me to say that just now, but it was even harder 3 years ago. But I'm so proud that my insight has changed from how I view myself, and I hope that your insight changes and how you view yourself and how you view people, because it is wellness to have a healthy insight, and it is healing to change your negative insight.
Today's song is I Wear My Sunglasses at Night by Corey Hart. And think about this song, about this podcast. We're streaming everywhere. Today is your version of Wednesday Wellness. Thank you for joining us. And we asked the question today: what did you learn and discover about yourself today? What I learned is that healthful criticism hurts no one. Sometimes we're afraid of the truth as we stare it in the face. But if someone loves you, they're going to look out for your best. With that being said, if more than one person has told you about something about you, please believe them. You want differently. It makes you angry. That's what I thought about myself. Yes, listen more. And today's podcast was very, very inspiring. Let's wish you the same question. What did you learn and discover about yourself today?
I learned that I need to take my insight on how I view people, because I'm still afraid of getting close to people because of my past relationships and old friendships that didn't work out. I'm afraid to even make friends. That's the honest reveal about me. So I try to get too close to people. But that's because of my insight of how, my core memory is with how I view people. But I learned that I need to change, and it's possible to change my insight on how I view people. And my experience here today was empowering, because I feel like if I do change my insight on how I view people, I'll be more open, but boundaries.
Thank you. We hope that you've enjoyed today's program. We had some technical difficulties, and that's we're live. You're getting it live, and amazing host. Thank you. You want to hear more of Trisha's treasures? Just hashtag it or go to our YouTube and see what that's all about. One more thing before we go is to let you guys know that we have indeed found a place. Trish talked about this yesterday. for, what's the part that I'm doing, Trish? I just had them. In session. We are doing in session. That means anybody who's listening to our program, when we do in session, that is your time to be able to come join us live as you do here. But we will be more intense. I want to hear more from you guys. And so we will start with a topic. Yesterday's was recovery. You're going to be left insightful when you listen to yesterday's in session. And that means that you can come have a session with me in the group, or if you want a private session, you may just direct connect with me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and our direct connect. So in session has started. I'm so proud of yesterday's podcast, by the way. Thank you so much for putting that up quickly. Very proud of it. You know, first you gave me a lot of courage because I hate to take pictures. I don't know why. The idea of that is that I do photography. So I'm realizing that I need to let you see who you've been talking to. Thanks, everybody, and we hope that you enjoy it. Give us real feedback. We appreciate that. Thanks for joining. I was really bad.